A lot of people don't think, well, there's an audience there for talking about wine. But as we've seen with Instagram, you know, wherever there's attention, businesses are going to follow. And Australia, but I think that's because I've given a few bad reviews of their wines. Yeah, if I was in the paperclip industry, I'd be able to sell a lot all over the world. Wine presents different challenges.
No, actually, everything is different here.
Part of that, the app of TikTok, is seeing something weird and wonderful, which is slightly different to the norm. So that's probably why I've benefited, because I'm a bit weird.
Maybe we are all weird in a way.
I absolutely believe we can change the course of the wine industry.
Hello everyone, this is the Czapp podcast, and today our guest is Luke Flunder. He is a wine professional with more than 10 years of experience. He is the founder and owner of Flunder Wines. He has an extremely popular wine newsletter, and recently he exploded on social media platforms with his educational, fun and concise videos. Welcome, Luke. It's very nice to meet you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you for being here. And first of all, I would like to congratulate you for your newborn son, Joshua. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's all happening at the moment.
Yes. I just saw your video, the tasting of the Purple Angel with your newborn son. It was such a heartwarming and amazing video. And the whole wine community, online wine community, was enjoying it a lot. So everybody is rooting for little Joshua. Yeah,
it's a difficult choice whether to include family life in my videos, but on special occasions I like to bring them in the mix, and hopefully Joshua will be a wine drinker when he's older as well.
Of course, I'm sure about that. I think this is the way that we should really start. How did you start to get into the wine industry? We can learn on your website that you had a very interesting story in South Africa when you started enjoying wine and getting interested in wine. How did it start, and how did it become so serious in your life?
Yeah, I actually, my parents didn't drink much wine when I was younger, so I didn't have much experience of wine until I left school, and I didn't know what I wanted to do, so I went traveling. First port of call was South Africa, and I was staying in a hostel, and me and my friend who were traveling thought it would be a good idea to go wine tasting, and it absolutely poured down that day. And like I say in my bio on my newsletter, that meant we had the whole day visiting wineries, tasting wine, and from that moment I just fell in love with it, you know, the whole thing. And I took the opportunity after that to go to different wineries and wine producing countries, and then did a little bit more traveling. I was working in journalism, and then that's when I decided to step it up a gear and joined a national retailer in the UK, where I worked my way up through the store management program, and learnt more about wine, did more traveling, went on incentive trips. And I started a blog when I was there, and that was successful, and that led me to going on my own path and journey, setting up my own business and posting on social media, and thankfully that gained some traction.
Yeah, definitely. What was the fact about wine that draw you in? Was it the taste of wine? Did you enjoy the wine tastings, or was it the story behind the wines, or the complexity? Because I think it's different for everybody. A lot of people start it from get it from their family, as you mentioned. It is not the case for you. Lots of people just enjoy wine as a drink. Lots of people are very amazed by the complexity and the stories behind it. What was it for you?
It was everything and it's really comes down to the human journey, and it's the fact that every point of the wine trail, from the farmer to the end consumer, it connects humans together in a great way. And yeah, of course, it's those unexpected moments and flavors you get, and you speak to anybody in the wine industry, you never have conquered it. It's always something new to discover and explore and experience. And I think, you know, once you're in the game, as you know, you can't leave it. It's like the love of a family member. It's a constant joy, and yeah, like I say, something to be discovered. So that's really where my passion came from.
Exactly, exactly. I totally agree with the fact that it is a never-ending learning game. You always discover when you visit new wine regions, even if you think that you know that wine region, when you visit a winery and they tell you that no, actually everything is different here, and small micro climates and inside the large terroir, the differences. It is very interesting complexity. So you started with the blog. Which year was it? When did you start blogging?
And that was around 2015, 2016. My friend who I was living with at the time said he wanted to write about food, and we should go to different restaurants, write about food and wine, and we'll get free meals. So I wasn't sure about it, but I said let's go for it anyway. And my blog started getting some views, and his didn't. So he cancelled, and I kept on going.
Sorry, can I interrupt you here? Where did the views come from? Did you promote it somewhere, or it was just organic growth through search engine, or did you already do the social media back then?
It was organic growth, yeah, completely organic growth, and that was on the early days of Instagram actually, where I started getting a lot of views and a lot of likes. So that was really the precursor behind TikTok.
I see.
And yeah, so I didn't carry on with the Insta so much, just for various reasons. But that was when, yeah, I always felt better on video, and so that's when TikTok appeared. That felt the natural platform to me, so I jumped on there early.
Interesting. Then you started doing the TikTok videos. It's a very interesting situation because until this moment, TikTok wasn't really a very popular place for the wine world, the wine industry. Still, there are very few creators, wine creators on TikTok. A lot more are on Instagram. What do you think? What is the reason for this? Probably one of the reasons is the fact that at the beginning of when TikTok started, really, it drew in more younger audiences, a lot of kids. But now I think it starts to mature, and there are a lot more wine people as well on TikTok.
Yeah, I think the very dynamics of TikTok is that you have to be quite open, and it's a new way of engaging. So naturally, that's difficult for anyone to take on board throughout human history. A new way, a new form of engaging.
You're right.
And I think it's something that the wine world has always struggled with a little bit, is to jump on new platforms quickly. But from history, it also shows that if you do, like YouTube, like Instagram, then you can build sizable followings. And I think as well, to answer your question, TikTok was originally and still is an entertainment platform. So people dancing, people falling over, people singing. And so probably a lot of people don't think, well, there's an audience there for talking about wine. But as we've seen with Instagram, wherever there's attention, businesses are going to follow, because that's a natural route to gain new customers.
For sure.
And I think, you've got to put a lot of time and trust in a platform like that if you're going to hope that it'll grow. And there's many that haven't grown that started off as being quite popular. But TikTok, thankfully for me, has stayed, and it's become increasingly popular. And I can only see over the next 2 years it becoming even more popular for businesses to represent their brand in a great way.
Totally, totally. I agree. These are I think there are two approaches to these platforms. A lot of people are trying to optimize their content, not just optimize, but come up with a special type of content that would fit this ecosystem, this platform. And there is the other version, when they recognize, as you said, that if there is attention, then my ideas, my things, my niche, my industry will find its place there. And if you just start producing high quality content and sharing valuable knowledge, then you can find an audience. So I think you did it perfectly. It's very smart, and you adapted your message to TikTok very nicely. What do you see? Are there any trends or things that you noticed on your TikTok? What really gets the attention there?
I think there's a couple of things, but at the moment and going forward, I think genuine, real content is the future, and it is seeing inside somebody's life. And I think for the wine industry, that represents a huge opportunity, because as an industry we have so many stories to tell, yet we're trying to do perfect marketing, and we're trying to show the perfect picture in the vineyards, but actually it's the stories of people who are making the wine, that have the family history, that can really show them on the app. So that's certainly a future trend I think is going to do well for TikTok.
Totally. I also noticed this, and it's very interesting and a magical thing, that on Instagram, on TikTok, most or probably all of the viral wine-related videos that explode are very organic, simple recordings from the vineyard, from the wine cellar. Someone is tasting a wine, showing a wine. It's not edited. It's not professionally shot on expensive cameras. It's very interesting that this human connection can get through. And all these very well-produced marketing content that, as you said, are struggling and don't really get any organic views, just if they promote it. But this is very interesting. What do you think? How can this work? How can this human connection be felt through a video?
Well, I think who's consuming these videos, there's a very smart audience out there, and they can see through a marketing campaign that's been thought up, rather than actually seeing somebody holding a camera. And yes, they could do anything at any point, so that's more entertaining and more interesting. And for the actual producer, what that means is you don't have to spend a lot to get that going, and you don't have to spend a lot of time, and it's just about volume and just about following your journey. So it's a great philosophy, not so much for marketing agencies maybe, because it takes it out of the hand. Yeah, but and it's different industries want different things, and wine is a rustic product, and it needs that footage.
Of course, and there are a lot of opportunities for wineries to shoot these videos, these behind the scenes, from the vineyard to the technology, to the grapes and the cellar works. There is lots of stories to tell and lots of interesting things to show. And I think this helps to level the field, and this is a way to engage and to reach more people for smaller wineries as well. So the entry level is a lot easier, and it's not about the huge marketing budgets anymore.
Absolutely. And I've recently done some work here in the UK with a couple of merchants, but one in particular, I won't name who they are, but they have been struggling marketing wise, and I helped them do a video, and it's in the past week got 200,000 views, and they don't have enough of the products anymore. So it just shows, and it's a 15-second long video. and it just shows still there is huge potential if you get the right story, but if you present it in the right way, and there's no loss. Post 20 videos, 19 may bomb, but you just need the one to go. And yeah, that would be my advice to anyone who's thinking about getting on TikTok.
Of course, and I think there is another level. You being a wine creator and you gaining the trust of your followers, always sharing valuable education and advice. When there is like a promotion or something coming from you, it's a lot more valuable because it's trusted. It's not just an ad that people are seeing on the wall, on this feed while they are scrolling, but if it comes from a trusted person, it's a lot more valuable for the brand behind your promotion, and for the customers as well, because they are getting an ad that is genuine and they can trust it in a way.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
And I think this is not even a new thing. Just as it happened a few decades ago when the Robert Parker his effect started to pressure the wine industry. It was the same. One person had the trust of a whole industry, and what he said, that was what happened.
Yeah, and I think that what my personal side, what I've tried to do, which is probably a little bit different, is to give the power back to the people who are buying the wine. Actually, it's their opinion that matters. It's of course important for the expert to give their opinion based on experience and knowledge, but who is tasting these wines? And so the wine industry, in my opinion, needs to respect the end user more for knowledge that they have, even if it's not high knowledge in terms of knowing all the different grape varietals or diseases in the vineyard. Actually, they've tried a number of wines and they should be able to make up their own mind, and that should be respected.
Yeah, totally. I'm curious, you mentioned that now you focus on Instagram and on TikTok, and you believe in this platform. What do you think, what is the difference between the platforms right now? Because content-wise, the same type of content now is available on all platforms. Instagram has Reels, YouTube has YouTube Shorts. So how do you see these platforms? Because I think this is very helpful and cool for the creators, that we can now use the same content piece on all these different platforms. Is it good, in your opinion, to use the same content piece for all of the platforms, or should creators produce different content for all these different platforms? How do you see this?
I think Reels and TikTok are behaving quite similarly, so they're very much the same. I think with Reels you can deliver a little bit more length in your videos. I think TikTok has become super fast, and then now they've brought out this new creator program where you get paid if you're making content for over a minute. So yeah. I think they've shot themselves in the foot a bit, and they're trying to get more time on videos, so people are staying on the platform for longer.
That's very interesting that the attention span depends on the app. I would have thought that if the attention span is getting shorter and shorter, it would be the same on Instagram, Reels, and TikTok. It depends on the person, but you're saying that it's different on the two platforms. That's very interesting.
That's just my understanding of how it's developing, and I think the thing with Instagram is that it's a lot more of a community now, and people message through Instagram, and so you have probably a little bit more attention on there in terms of span, how long people are willing to listen or watch a video for. Whereas TikTok is very much hit after hit after hit, and you've got to really grab the viewer's attention straight away. And I think you know, I've been pro TikTok for quite a while, but I think actually there's a real opportunity on Instagram with Reels, on Facebook with videos as well, and YouTube constantly developing on Shorts. So, you know, these things go in phases, but those reactions from those other platforms is certainly now they're starting to find a little bit more of where they are compared to TikTok, when about a year ago, 6 months ago, they were still scrambling, but they're working it out.
On the terms of views, I can see that all of the platforms now are generating quite a large amount of views, and even in the wine industry, we can see attention. Now we just have to see which platforms are going to adapt better and what are better for monetization. I'm also curious about your opinion on, you mentioned this the TikTok monetization, the new monetization opportunities. What do you think is more important as for a creator, the built-in monetization options on TikTok, on Reels, or on YouTube, or using your community to like funnel to your own business, or use affiliations and brand deals?
Look, I think TikTok is here to stay, but it does take the control away from you. And if you know, you can look at the last 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, TikTok is still a very volatile platform. So you're leaving yourself at the mercy of TikTok. And that may be a great thing, but it could also be a bit of a risk if you're trying to grow your personal brand. So the advantage of that is your brand is there, your audience is there, sorry. So you've got direct access to them, and scraping them from TikTok is a bit more challenging. But if you can do that and you feel confident you can do that, then I would suggest the best way always is to have your personal brand away from the platform. But I think it comes down to the audience you've built, and I would hope for myself personally that the connection that I've had with them only recently. I just met someone who said he was following my first few videos when no one else was, and he's completely connected. So
Wow.
I feel as though they can, you can transfer them over.
I think this is always a challenge for creators to manage to funnel their audience from platforms, to not be so attached to these platforms, and build a community outside these platforms. It's very challenging, but I think your strategy works very well. Could you explain a little bit how do you do it, and what do you see, what works and what doesn't?
Well, I think you've got to provide genuine value away from the app or the platform that you're using, and I think that's what I do well. You're not getting the same content; you're getting more content, and you're offering more value by someone making the transition to a different platform or your website. So I think that's a really key element of it. If you're offering the same thing or less elsewhere, then why would someone tune in elsewhere? I think that's a real key to it. I feel as though because I use Substack and that's growing for me, and I see that as very much a future platform for me, because it's somewhere where I can kind of provide the skeleton to my audience of, you know, why I do things and the inner workings, and that is attractive to them, I think.
I see. You are right. And are you mentioning your Substack and your newsletter in each video? I think lately you have mentioned almost at the end of every video.
Yeah, I'm doing a little bit.
Not just keeping the link in the bio, but you actively mention it for your viewers that they can get more value if they.
Yeah, I think I've upped that a little bit, and I've brought that more directly into my videos, just because I think I'm just more confident in what I'm doing away from the app. So that's just been a natural progression for me, and I just feel it's real. That's what I think I can add value for people through that app. So
Okay.
yeah, I have included it more, but that's just been a natural thing I guess I've done.
Okay. Okay. And as I can understand, it works, right? How did the TikTok growth affect your subscriptions, your Substack following? Is it going parallel to your growth, and are the followers transferring, or is it a little bit more nuanced?
Yeah, it's been an interesting one because TikTok has been the source of a lot of the growth on there. It hasn't been fast by any means, but more recently I've grown by 65,000 followers on Instagram in the past 3 months, and that has been a big source of new viewers, new audience to my Substack. So really, Instagram at the moment, which was a platform I didn't think I'd be talking about so much, has been a real great place to be. And so TikTok, yeah, is steady, but TikTok for content creators who certainly prospered around COVID and just after, like I did. I think everyone's noticed, speaking to them, everyone's noticed a slowdown. There's been just not in terms of even it's content that's worked notoriously for us all throughout that time period, and we just notice those videos just don't get as much traction because there is a lot more traffic. When you open your phone on TikTok now compared to the early days, you are bombarded with 4 or 5 out of 10 of those first videos are sales orientated, whether it's TikTok shop or whether it's a partner for TikTok. So it's become a completely different platform, and that kind of relates to what I was saying earlier about the changes on the app. It is still a volatile app.
I see. And also, I think Instagram is a little bit smarter with these options that they offer for the creators to lead followers outside the app. For example, the stories with the links in the story. I think that is a very powerful tool for creators. Are you using that?
Yeah, I am using that. Yeah, and that's really powerful, really great. And I guess TikTok don't want you to go outside the app, but it's great that Instagram are allowing you to promote your business, and I think they respect small businesses and small content creators to allow you to do that. And yeah, another perk of Instagram at the moment, and I completely agree. Is that what you find?
Yeah. I think it's a great tool, and obviously all the apps are trying to keep people in the app. But I think Instagram was smarter, and they recognized that if we give powerful tools to the creators, to the businesses, they are going to stay and use the app and produce content for the app, because I think that is their end goal, to have valuable content on their apps, and that's what keeps the audience in. So I think this is where the power of Instagram really lies. That's why we started with Instagram with Wine Inspires at the beginning in 2017, and this was our main focus for the longest time. We also started on TikTok as well, but and the growth is great. The views are very good, but as you just mentioned, it's a lot harder to convert.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And I think I speak about wine in a different way, and that's benefited me from TikTok, because part of that, the app of TikTok, is seeing something weird and wonderful, which is slightly different to the norm. So that's probably why I've benefited, because I'm a bit weird.
I'm not sure, but maybe we are all weird in a way. But you are right. Your content is very unique and very interesting. I think you have a very down to earth approach, going to the supermarket, showing for the general customers what should they look for, explaining the labels, different wine regions. This is, I think, this can attract a very wide audience.
Yeah, and I think that comes from the very start of this, where I said about I didn't come from a wine drinking background, and I didn't understand the industry when I first got into it. And I thought, well, why is someone spending X amount on a bottle of wine? And what, you know, I don't get creme brulee when I smell this wine, and I couldn't quite understand it. So I took it from the base level. I took it from the, you know, analysing a £6 wine and what value this gives you and why people would go for that instead of that. And then that's built my knowledge up probably in a little bit of a different way, because I've always respected the, you know, the person who's the very most casual of wine drinkers.
Yeah. So now you became that person who is teaching the beginners. A very interesting question that I'm thinking about now. With these educational content and these videos, can we really increase the, like, meaningfully increase the wine community? Because through the time, the wine consumer community has been declining very slowly, but steadily declining. And these educational videos, can we increase new customer base, or the viewers who are watching these videos are already a little bit interested in wine, and this is just a great way for them to learn more? What do you think?
Yeah, I absolutely can. I absolutely believe we can change the course of the wine industry, because it opens it up and it makes it a different experience. And what I mean by that is like the burger revolution. It's like the pizza revolution. You're taking a product that's always been there and you're giving it a slightly different slant. So people are comfortable eating burgers at every level. You know, Five Guys, you're spending a lot of money, and you're enjoying it and you're getting different things from it. And it's the same with wine, if that makes sense. I think you can enjoy a wine, you know, and understand enough to make it a different experience where you're not lost and you're not just ordering based on price and color of the wine. So I mean, there's an argument to say wine is just becoming less popular, and no matter what you do, there's going to be a decline in consumption of wine. You know, you can try and change the wheel, you can try and do everything. So it will play out how it plays out, of course. But I think there is a huge opportunity to change the experience and how people feel about wine. That it's not pretentious, it's not elusive, it's actually something that can absolutely be enjoyed.
That's a very, very great answer and good point. I wasn't trying to suggest that it's like a no chance game. Just it was a question that I was thinking about if this can really make a change. But as you explained, wine never really got the mainstream status. It always has been like a niche product and a niche thing. But definitely, this was a very interesting analogy that you said with the burger and the pizza revolution, that they were also such niche products, niche food, and they could reach this mainstream status.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think it's, you know, I'm in the UK, so it's a bit of a different market here because we don't produce so much wine. So nobody has perhaps the same loyalty as they do to wine. They're quite happily moving on to cocktails or the competition. Yeah. So, yeah.
How is it? How do you see your audience on these social media platforms? Because as you mentioned, you are from the UK. You are showing the UK supermarkets, and your wine business that I also want to talk to you about is also based in the UK. How does this fit together with the international following? Because I'm guessing that your followers on social media are from all over the place.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the majority are from the UK, and I have some random countries that have more interest in me than others, like Brazil and Australia. But I think that's because I've given a few bad reviews of their wines, so that always
Yes,
creates
the
attention.
yellowtail scandal
Yeah, I
for
think
the.
that's a work in progress for me. Thinking about a global audience, I think a lot of the recommendations I give are UK based and UK wines that you find in the UK. But that's the wine. That's the wine side in terms of the product. But the knowledge and the education, that is global, absolutely. And
Exactly.
you know, I need to be aware of that going forward for sure, just to see how I don't alienate or not connect with that audience because I'm talking too much about the UK position.
I think this is also a different difference between the platforms because I noticed this that TikTok really promotes your content in your area, even to the level of the city, even. But the country definitely, depending on your country, it promotes your content there. But Instagram, YouTube, it's very like impartial. When you upload, it can blow up in a totally different country. I think
Mm.
they don't really focus your the promotion of your content into your own country, which is a very interesting difference. Not sure why they are doing it. Probably it's smarter the way TikTok does it.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I started to try and work out the different algorithms, and look into things like that. And I think, I see certainly in the UK influencers talking a lot about algorithms and how you can try and manipulate them. But I've gone back myself to keeping it as natural as possible and just letting the cookie crumble in the right direction, based on just producing good natural content, and I quite like that. Yeah, so that's my kind of philosophy on that.
Totally agree. I think you can never, if you start to really solve the mysteries of these algorithms, you can never catch it. You're just running after the tricks that might help you with the algorithm, but it really comes back to quality and valuable content, and it doesn't matter how many hashtags you are using. If your video is valuable and your audience is enjoying it, that's where we should really focus on.
And I think I've been guilty of that certainly on TikTok in times gone by as the apps, sped up. Trying to talk quicker, do shorter clips, and then
Mm.
so I've just been like, I'm going to explode if I if I try that too much. So this, I think it's meeting halfway, isn't it? It's meeting you're silly if you ignore the app, your audience, but also what got you there in the first place was being genuine and real. So it's a balance, and I think often, I'm sure you're the same. What looks like simple content can actually be thought through, based on all these factors. But like my video that got 2 million views and rising recently, that was filmed within 10 minutes in my studio, and
And it's very, if you are really trying, it's very hard to replicate this
yeah.
authenticity to do it. It can just either it comes from a real, like genuine place, or you can do it. I think this is one of our mistakes that we did with these educational wine videos. We really overproduced them. Lots of explanations,
Mm.
charts, animations, and it felt a little bit disconnected, and they
Mm.
didn't really perform that well. It is, I think it would be better to create a little bit more human, simple, and less produced content, because I think it was genuine. We were really trying to explain
Mm.
it the best as we could and use everything, but it was a little bit too much. It felt a little bit commercially.
Yeah, and that's it, isn't it? I think when you're, now I've got a more established account, you don't have as much freedom for trial and error. So in those early days, you could put up a lot of videos and try different things, but as your audience grows, you've just got to be a bit more careful about what you're putting out there.
Yeah, it's not just throwing everything at the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah, exactly. I miss those days.
Yes, when you can always start a new account, like a account for experiments, and
Yeah,
just
well,
play there.
it's been fun working with these different brands because that's right at the start of their journey, and so I can try a few different things.
Yeah, but don't tell them that you are using them as experiments,
Yeah, yeah,
as laboratories.
yeah, laboratories. Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to hear more about your wine business, Flunder Wines. When did you
Mm.
start this? How does this fit into the picture? We heard that you were working in wine, then you started your blog, and when did you start Flunder Wines?
Well, that was actually when I was working in London for a national retailer, Majestic. I thought, well, there are less people coming in store, so it's going online. But I also wanted
Mm.
to do my tasting events because I loved doing that during my time there, and
Mm.
I felt that that would be a good route to go down for myself personally. And so I set up my business, and yeah, with a focus on doing pop-ups, wine tastings and networking events. And then of course COVID hit, so
Mm.
that wasn't in the business plan, and
Yeah.
I had to pivot a bit, change the structure, and that's when we started sending out wine, interesting wine. We linked up with an importer in London and got our hands on some really cool kits and started doing Luke's Case, which was 6 wines from a different country and sending that out. That started getting a lot of traction and became a real, in here late at night, packing these boxes, getting extra staff members. I knew that wasn't my end goal, but the more people were ordering online, obviously I wasn't going to ignore that. And so that's tapered down a little bit. And it was actually, I started on TikTok to promote that business. But I quickly realized that, I'd be better off if that wasn't my end goal, making it more about myself. But that was naturally the way it was going anyway. So we still do some fun stuff here, which is buying and selling some really cool wines, like the vintage port I just put up
Yeah.
today. And that's given me, and I still have a group where I send out 1 bottle of fine wine a month that I handpick, and
Hmm.
that's been running for nearly 2 years now, and it's a really select group, and it's been a fantastic journey because it's allowed me to taste a lot of different high-end wines and connect with
Hmm.
that wine lovers group. So, that's been very much a passion project and still remains that way. But Flunder Wines is, yeah, it's a little bit of a passion project as well. But at one time it was bigger than that. But as my personal brand continues to grow, that naturally will figure less in my life. Yeah.
Hmm. I see. I see. I noticed that you are not really promoting the Flunder wines, and I was interested uh, in what is the explanation. You are doing it separately, or you want to focus more on your personal brand. But now I understand. So
Yeah, and also, if I was to if I was to sell a bottle, which I don't want to do on social media really, but if I was to sell a bottle, I can't sell it to America or I can't send it to Scotland. So it doesn't really benefit me if I did sell a lot of wine on the app.
yeah, yeah. Just as we talked about the fact that it's an international following, international community, it's a little bit hard to target just the UK audience. They should have a feature when posting videos, just only post this for this country, and that
Yeah.
would make sense. But if you can only sell in your own country, it's really hard to fit it in the social media picture.
Yeah, if I was in the paperclip industry, I'd be able to sell a lot all over the world. Wine presents
Yes,
different challenges.
of course, of course. Selling wine internationally is a little bit harder.
Yeah.
So your main focus and your goal right now is building your personal brand and newsletter. And if you can share your business model, how do you imagine this? What is your main goal in the long term with your personal brand business?
So yeah, the main goal really is to grow, keep on growing the newsletter, which really I started in February, and over the past few months, especially, we've seen a lot more growth. And the plan there is to get to 100,000 subscribers, free subscribers, within the next 3 to 5 years. And what comes of that, whether it's people directly subscribing to me as a paid subscriber, or maybe some work with other brands. We see that as an exciting opportunity. And then, yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's the exciting bit. From a personal brand standpoint, I've been contacted by a lot of people recently wanting to work. I'm being patient. I'm focusing on building, my personal brand so I can make the decisions rather than the other way around. And so, yeah, hopefully in time to come, there will be a partnership there, or, whether it's an ambassadorial role or, yeah, something like that. But yeah, that's just work in progress at the moment.
By partnership, you mean working as an ambassador exclusively for a winery or for different wineries, or how would that work?
Yeah, those are all options, but perhaps maybe a board for a country or a region, perhaps. I see that as an opportunity, and that's the kind of line I'm looking down, or some society or board, or maybe something connected with sustainability, or that route, or climate action. I see those as being the potential opportunities there. But like I say, early days on those yet, but I just see it as a route, and certainly with the sustainability side of things, or the drinking in moderation, perhaps more of an intrinsic, or away from the product, maybe is an internal good thing to do.
Yeah, I see. If you could choose one region to represent right now, just as a fun idea, which region would you choose today?
I'll choose the country Spain. And well, where do I start, really? I think there's so many regions that are going to be discovered over the next 10 years, certainly here in the UK. But that northern belt, and especially the northwest corner, near Albarino land, yeah, that's probably who I'd represent. Yeah. And yourself?
That's very interesting, and I just noticed it today while I was researching on your wine store, that Spain was like represented the highest, in the highest numbers. I think there were like 40 plus wines from Spain, and from other countries. I think Italy and France were the second ones, with just 10 and a few. So it definitely shows that Spain is your where your heart is when we are talking about wine, and it's very nice. I think that your store represents your style and your ideas. And I was wondering why there are no Hungarian wines in your store. Like, my nationality is Hungarian, so.
Yeah, we like I say, during lockdown, we did a lot of work with Hungarian wines, and a small importer. And it just comes down to, really, one, where we're based in the UK, we're in a very traditional area here, so people like the classics and like the countries they're familiar with. But also, we try and keep very light on our feet with stock, and we've just found the importers we've worked with really the best option for us has been, the wines that we stock. Whereas the wines from Hungary, we had to order in a lot more bulk, so it's a bit more of a risk to us. But I haven't. I love Hungarian wines and absolutely no.
It's okay. I was just joking. It's
No.
I wasn't trying to put you in on the spot.
No, it's fair enough though. It's fair enough because I absolutely love Hungarian wines and think they've got a bright future as well. So,
of course, I also think that there is a future, and it's very underappreciated right now. I think in the international community, it's really all about Tokaj, and that's pretty much how far it goes in the international community. But there are so many wine regions and so many different styles and indigenous grape varieties that I think there is great opportunity for growth. But we just have to tell the story of Hungarian wine and show it, because right now the Tokaj is overshadowing the whole industry, which is good. I'm not saying that people shouldn't pay attention to the Tokaj wines because they are majestic, but there are a lot more to show. But it's work in progress, and it's a journey, and I hope to take part in this and to educate the international community in this regard as well.
Absolutely, yeah, completely agree. And Lidl have had a fantastic wine, Kadarka, I think.
Kadarka.
That went really well, and I've actually had people asking me recently about where that wine's gone and where can they get
about Kadarka.
So,
wow, that's very interesting. It's actually coming back. This is the renaissance of Kadarka. Kadarka was a traditional historical Hungarian grape variety, and it was it disappeared for a long period, and in the last decade it was it gets popular in Hungary as well, but in the international market. It's a very interesting, very, very complex grape variety. If I would have to compare it to an international red grape variety, I would say it's somewhat similar to Cabernet Franc.
Yes,
but it's more spicy and more complex in my opinion, and I think it has a bright future. Right now in Hungary there are plantations, a lot of new plantations of Kadarka, and it's also in the historical Hungarian regions around Hungary, in different countries, in Transylvania as well. So it really grows and it has potential, and I'm really glad that you also heard about it, and your friends are looking for some good Kadarka.
Yeah, and I think it's always difficult, isn't it? The UK's linguistics aren't good, so introducing new regions or grape varietals. But yeah, we had a great case during lockdown from Ega Sopron. Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, I think this is a little bit of disadvantage of Hungarian wines. The Hungarian grape varieties are sometimes hard to pronounce. Kadarka is an easier one, but there are a lot of very complicated Hungarian grape variety names like Cserszegi Fűszeres and lots of funny names. I think there was a Hungarian girl in New York who had a wine store, and she was specializing on these very weird Hungarian grape variety names, and she started selling merchandise with these weird names, and people in the US were loving it and trying to pronounce it. So it can be an advantage if we try to make it, but obviously it's hard for consumers to buy something that they can't even read.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, one example we've seen this year is Greek wines and the Renaissance. Not even Renaissance. They've shot up in popularity, and so I think yes, absolutely, it's about remembering names, but also it's the general feel. And I think if you can create that buzz around a country, then people, we don't need to worry so much about the names, but you can also sell on a feeling as well. I think that's an opportunity for countries like Hungary to do that.
Exactly. It's you can go with the grape varieties to have as your flag, or you can base it on regions or even on specific brands. So it shouldn't be a burden, the grape varieties, because you can always go with building the wine regions and the brands. I mean, Bordeaux wines are not really selling their wines on grape variety. This is mainly a new word idea to focus on grape varieties.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. I also wanted to play a little game with you, because you are right now on social media. You are the king of wine recommendations, and this is the time when people need these recommendations, because the holidays are coming and everybody is trying to buy gifts and drink a good wine at the family dinner. And I would like to ask you a few situations or relationships. What kind of wine would you suggest to buy in these situations? If you can mention an exact winery or an exact wine, that would be great. But if not, you can just suggest a style for the situation, and maybe consider the budgets as well. Let's say an ideal situation where the budget is not a problem, and the budget solution for the problem. So, are you ready?
Yeah.
What wine should we buy for a general family dinner? Everybody is there, the grandma, the grandparent, parents, young adults, general family dinner, not wine professionals.
Not wine professionals. I would go for a wine from the Rhone in France. So something that is has a little bit about it, so people notice it, but also it's crowd pleasing and works with most foods.
What would you buy for a friend group which contains wine professionals, or at least wine enthusiasts?
I would go off the beaten track with knowledge. So maybe a wine from the Azores in the Atlantic, owned by Portugal, where very small vineyards and the walls are protecting the sea spray, and I think made from the Arinto grape, and something that would really pique their interest.
Yeah,
so
surprise.
Something unique. Yeah.
Wow, that's very good. I love it. Okay, what would you do with just the same, a friend group which does not contain any wine professionals? So everybody is just a beginner, and what should we bring to this situation?
I would bring something that they haven't tasted before, that could open up their eyes to a new world of wine. Okay. So perhaps Vermentino from Sardinia. Big, rich, full and spicy white, which just is away from what you can get normally in the supermarkets from Italy, which is quite a easygoing style of white. So yeah, I'd go for Vermentino from Sardinia.
Wow, great. What would you bring to a table of seniors?
Seniors, it would have to be sherry.
Okay.
I love sherry, and I'd just like to see their reaction to some really dry, nutty, rich sherry, which will get their attention and liven up their senses.
Perfect. Okay, let's think a little bit about gifts. What kind of gift, as a wine gift, should we give to our fathers?
I think fathers, certainly my dad, something really full-bodied,
exactly.
that they'll remember. You don't want to really be giving them too far delicate a wine. Maybe for me to think that I'm a good son and strong. So exactly. maybe something like a Tanat from Uruguay, something a little bit different again. That's very muscular and rich.
Yeah, that's great. What about our mothers?
Yeah, the other way around. So I'd give something like Beaujolais from one of the crews of Beaujolais, something
Mm.
delicate, light, um, and perfumed. Yeah, something they. But I can't give my mum anything because she always says she doesn't like it. So I've always my biggest challenge.
Yeah, now probably with these ideas, you can also help yourself come up with solutions. Okay, what should we give to our boss?
Yeah, that's a difficult question. For a boss, I think it has to be something with tradition and
Mm,
history and solidarity.
okay,
So probably a good name from Burgundy.
okay,
Um, yeah, that really delivers in quality. Something like Leflevre, Polini Montrachet, or something like that. So if
okay,
they do research it, which they probably will, they'll know you've put some good thought into it, and it's a well respected and good producer, which shows your reliability and trustworthy as an employee.
exactly, and maybe get a raise as well
Exactly,
after it
yeah.
when they notice the price tag of the Burgundy wines.
Yeah.
Okay, and lastly, what would you give to your colleagues?
To my colleagues, I would give them the strongest alcoholic, so we know we're going to have a good time away from work. I think, yeah. Or to my colleagues, I would give them an aged Australian Shiraz.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's great, great choice.
underrated and something that may surprise them. That has the whole spectrum of flavors.
Exactly. Well, I think these suggestions will help our viewers, and this is a great starting point to think about gifting or tasting wine at these dinners, because I think it comes back to these ideas, combinations. Obviously, these were just made up situations, but when you really try to decide, you have to take into consideration all the your personal situation, maybe the food pairings as well, if you know. So, but yeah, this is a great starting point. Thank you for these tips, and thank you for this podcast. I really enjoyed it. I'm really glad that I met you. Where can our followers find you on the internet?
So my newsletter is Luke Flunder's Wine World. Yeah, Luke Flunder's Wine World, and that's on Substack, the app or the website. So easy to download. Um, and then TikTok, Luke Flunder, the TikTok wine guy. Instagram, Luke Flunder, the TikTok wine guy as well. But I may become Luke Flunder, the Instagram wine guy. I think you've already got that title though.
Okay, amazing. We will link all your social media and the platforms. Thank you for everyone. Thank you for watching, and see you guys in the next episode. Bye bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you for joining.